All right, we're here. Finally.
Woo! Whew.
Oh my goodness. We tried so hard on Facebook Live and it
Ooh,
didn't work, but this is why, some things are meant to happen, Angie, I think, and maybe this is better
right,
because we can have like a real conversation and not be distracted with all
right.
the
With
stuff. So
anybody,
we're here
yes.
today to talk to Miss Angela Valentine, just about
Hello.
nature, about children, and being inclusive, and using the book as a guide. But I guess we titled it "Nature Calls All" because I think you said that in our last
Yes. Bring
Zoom.
nature back to all.
Bring nature
Bring
back
nature
to
back
all. Yeah. So
to
let's talk a
all.
little bit about who you are,
Okay,
um,
yes, I think the last
with
time I got a little.
nature and everything
Yes.
that we're talking
Well,
about.
first, my name is Angela Roman, and I am almost a half a century old, which means I've learned a lot and been through a lot and experienced a lot. Which on your last live, you were talking about, I think with Laura or George, I'm not sure which one, but people learn through experience. Not only just children, but people learn through
Hmm.
experience. And I've learned a lot through my experiences in life,
Hmm.
and they've taught me a lot. So I'll start with being 25 years old and working for the Fresh Air Fund,
Oh
you know,
wow! Okay, we were just talking
because,
about that today.
right,
The Fresh Air Fund. I was
about
talking with
being,
someone about that.
all
I didn't know you were. I
right.
never knew you were part of that. Was that because
Wow,
you grew up
yes.
in Tribeca?
Not at all.
Okay, tell me.
I,
Tell me about.
well, first, yeah, coming back, when I think I was actually working, I got there through a agency, actually. I started working for the Fresh Air Fund. And when I started working there, I thought it was the most amazing thing. Like, wow.
Mm,
Because I grew up in a house where you go outside and there's grass there. You can go outside and play with your friends. But
mm,
being in the urban community and with the cities, the kids see skyscrapers and asphalt in the morning. The Fresh Air Fund was designed to, take children out of the urban, and they have sponsors in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, where people have big houses and they have woods and they take
right.
an inner
So
city
I'm going to
child for two
backtrack. I'm
weeks
going to
in
be
the
cutting
summer.
you off a lot because I want
Do
to
that.
hit on the
That's
nuggets.
okay. Because I
So you
will.
said you grew up where there were houses, but then you were in an urban place. So where
So I
you moved to
moved.
the city?
I moved to the city when I was 12.
Okay. So what part of the
So,
city?
Chelsea, New York.
Chelsea. Okay,
Chelsea,
so you're a Chelsea
Chelsea.
girl. That's right.
I'm
You're
a
a
Chelsea
Chelsea girl.
girl. This
Yes.
is why, yeah, I'm a Chelsea girl, village girl,
Okay.
house music all night long. So yes. So from there, so I moved to New York when I was 12. But prior to that, I was born in Lexington, Kentucky. Bluegrass place,
Okay.
very country.
So you
And then we
started
moved
out with the whole nature
with
thing,
yeah,
and
which
then you like transitioned into this brick city. So that must have been some kind
yes.
of real,
Right. Yes.
adjustment to
For
have to make.
my age, yes. Because even growing up, with going in like our high schools and stuff, we had huge, like an acre to play for
Wow.
recess. There was always nature,
Yeah.
which in our whole and everyone's life, we all were brought up with nature. Our ancestors, our great grandparents, they
Right.
had big lawns. They were able to go out,
Right.
explore, dig a hole without someone calling. Oh, there's people snatching kids up. That's another thing that's, scaring people from exploring and getting back into nature in
Right.
2021, besides COVID, but
Right.
we'll
Right.
hit
Your
that. But
camera's
yeah,
moving around a lot. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Is it okay? There you go. I'm
There we
like
go.
vertigo.
I'm sorry, my
That's okay.
bad. I'm like holding my phone. You know what? I
Okay.
should have did this on
That's
my
okay. That's
computer,
okay. That's okay. I was like, why
but
is
because
everything moving?
I was trying to like
That's okay.
get
No
on the thing
worries.
with my computer, my bad. I will hold it
That's
steady,
okay. No worries.
slow and
Okay, so the
steady.
Fresh Air Fund. Let's talk about the Fresh Air Fund now.
Yeah, so the Fresh Air Fund, it brings, inner city kids out to the country so they can experience a different type of living. A lot
Hmm.
of children in New York were born in New York, and some of them don't even leave New York, but a lot of them do leave New York,
Right.
but not all of them. So I was just, when I was thinking about China, I was like, wow, I remember I used to work for the Fresh Air Fund, and
Wow.
how cool that they would be able to take our inner city kids and let them experience
Yeah.
what what our ancestors experienced, what their great grandparents experienced years ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
being
I was
free in
thinking
nature.
about like what you're talking about. I just came back from, Upper West. New York.
Oh, yes,
And
yes,
we drove
beautiful.
back, and it was like, I think I passed over a million, maybe I don't know how many, a
Lots of
million trees.
forestry,
So many
yes.
trees that you pass just on the road
Oh
in a short
my,
distance. It's just,
right.
it's crazy. It's really crazy. And then, just to think how, there are kids, so many kids that they have not even had that experience.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say that because I was going to talk on some points that, in nature, there's no electricity, but, there was someone that I spoke to, she drives to go away with her kids and they're watching a movie in the back seat without not looking outside and
Yeah,
experiencing what you're driving by, So,
it's true. And I was a passenger today. So that's why
so
I
you
was
were able
able
to
to
really
really
absorb. Yeah.
take it all in, and
Yes.
just some of the, I know you have points, and we'll talk about the points,
No, no,
but
no,
I want
no.
us to
Yeah.
like chat too. But I remember when I was
Yes.
sitting in the car, and I think I told you this earlier, that I was like, wow, Angie really has, you've been the one that changed my whole perspective about the woods. And
Oh.
while I was driving and looking at the woods, every time, whenever I've traveled and looked at the woods, my mind always goes back to slaves being free.
Mm,
That's what
mm,
I think of when
yeah.
I see woods. I think
Right.
of running through the watching movies where they're running through the
Just running.
woods and the dogs are
Right,
barking and they
right.
got to go through the water
And
to
they're
get them.
scared. Yeah, bears.
And so
American
my
Werewolf
whole
in London.
thinking, yeah, my thinking of the woods is, I really don't want to be in the woods. It's scary. Or
Yeah.
you go to
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
horror movie and someone's always dying in the woods. Crazy guys in the woods gonna kill you. And
Yes.
I think that it's all like psychological too. How if you don't grow up in it, where it's a happy experience and you're in it, you
Yeah.
have this
Yeah.
mentality. And especially with minorities, especially people of color, unless you come from a country where that's just your life. But if you're like how you talked about the inner city
You're
kids,
the inner city kids, right?
they don't have the
Yes.
real experience, the joyful experience. And you gave me that joy.
Oh, I remember when we went on our first hike and Kyle
Yeah,
wanted to
let's
bring you
talk about
there.
that
And I
for a
was
minute.
like,
Let's talk
no.
about the first hike, Angie. We're gonna talk. Let's really talk. The first
I was
hike.
like, when we went on our first hike, because I always heard, come on, Jake. And then when I say hike, when you mention hike, people get nervous. I'm climbing up here over there. No, it's a walk. It's just a walk. It's a walk. It's not that strenuous. It's easy going. But yeah, and you kept saying no, no, and I was like, come on, put your feet in the water. You're like, no, I'm good. I'm just gonna absorb.
I
I'm
was
good. I'm
so
gonna watch the kids.
apprehensive.
And
I
I
was like, and it's
saw
cold, and your girls were in there and in the
jumping in
water, and then you got
there.
my boys to go in, and the rocks were
Yes.
slippery.
Yep.
And the whole time I'm like, no, I don't want them to go
You're
in
like,
because they're gonna fall, and there's no hospital out here. And
you
you were
and
so
that
chill.
yes.
It was like you were one with it, and your children were one with it, and
And
it was just
Jada,
really amazing.
you're not the only one. There are lots of parents that are fearful of the
Yes.
woods. And
And
that's what
let's
is,
talk about that,
know,
the fear, because I
yes,
really believe it's psychological and
yes.
it's also experiential. Is that a word? Experiential.
Experiential,
Your
like they need to
experiences
be
where you don't have that experience, a
right,
joyful experience, you know,
right. Or
and
what, yeah, and you could say they have the movies, American Werewolf in London, Would after that movie, I was scared too. But
right. Or that guy, remember the guy with the chainsaw?
oh yes.
And Friday or Halloween, Friday
Texas
13th.
Chainsaw Massacre, yes,
Yes, they were
yes.
woods. Woods. And
Mm-hmm.
my house, I live by that little
Yeah.
roundabout and
The
it's a woods right
right by
behind
the
my house.
airport. Yeah.
But when we were kids, we were forbidden to go around there. And that was back in the
Wow.
day when your parents could
Yeah.
just come out with a belt and beat you in the street, and
But
other
the other
parents
side of that wood,
were
I
okay
don't
with
blame them.
it.
The other side of the woods, you could slide down and hit the highway. So
That's
I don't
true.
blame
That's
them. But
true.
because that's the part where you're ready to explore. The other one is small. It's nice, but
Right. You
being
can't go down
children,
the hill.
right? And that's
But
the
there was this feeling of
yeah,
don't go near the woods,
right,
don't go near all
yeah.
those trees, and it's
Mm-hmm.
in your mind. And we used to get in trouble. All the kids in the neighborhood, we would get our little licks in the street if our parents caught
Just
us around there. And our parents would walk around to the woods with spoon in hand, and it was like
New York. Like
Yeah.
ready. But yeah, because parents were fearful of too of a lot of parents are fearful of like diseases, getting,
Yeah.
viruses, not just, like bitten by something or
A
bacteria or
tick.
something. Yeah, a lot of parents are fearful of that. And it's so it comes from that's why I wanted to bring the kids to nature because the parents are a little fearful, but once they see the difference,
How would you do
because when
that?
I started
So you
going,
say the parents are fearful.
some, not all,
Right.
not yeah,
Some
some,
parent, right.
yeah,
Some
yeah.
parents are fearful. You can use me as a guinea pig. I was fearful.
I take them out, experience.
I think there was a couple times I was like, "No, y'all go ahead. I'm gonna go back to the hotel.
Hmm.
You can take the boy. I'm gonna
Let's
go
go
let
run
the boy
around.
go." So if the
But
parents are fearful, how would you help? How would you fix that or help that situation?
come with me. I would experience, come on a hike with me. Let's go. Come on. Let's go on a hike. And if they say, well, let me take your child on a hike and let him tell you his
Mm,
experience when he comes back.
that's a
And
great idea.
I guarantee that they will come back more calm, more happier, more peaceful
And
because
what would you do in the woods with them? You wouldn't put
walk.
out. You wouldn't pull out a chainsaw.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not, Angie.
No. What I know, but like, I might throw a rock on the sun, like, what's that? No.
It's scare 'em a little.
But I would do that later. But first we would what I would do with them, we would just go walking. Let's walk. We observe. Most of the time you're observing, it's quiet. So you don't hear cars. Well, and where some places where you can go hiking, you don't hear any cars. But now that it's wintertime, the trees have no leaves, so you kind of hear a little bit of the highway because
The
again,
insulation is gone. The
right,
natural
the insulate,
insulation. Right.
right. But when it's not there and you go inside deep into the woods, just the sounds, it just awakens all your
Mhm.
sensory modes. So we would just walk. It depends on who I have. Some kids are ready to explore. Like my daughters, when I brought them out, they were ready to run up ahead of me. And at first I was a little eerie. Be careful. And I would give tips. First tips: do not run in the woods. Why? Because rocks, they're stumps, you sprain your ankle.
Right.
That right
Do not
there,
run in the woods because then you bring flashbacks of what I'm fearful of the woods.
right, exactly,
Slaves
of
trying to
how,
be free in the woods. Do not run in the woods.
so before we go and they haven't been, I would definitely give tips. The basic tips is always look
Right.
where you're watching,
Right. And I
don't
remember when we went with
run.
you, there was a cliff.
Yes.
And it was a waterfall. And I'm telling you, Angie,
Yes.
I was in the back because I was like, I need to watch. I need to see my children as we
Right.
and everyone was moving, and you were just like, "Come on, come on!" And when we
Let's
got
go.
to the cliff, I was like, "Is this girl crazy? Is she out of her mind? One slip, and we are
Okay.
in that waterfall."
Oh my goodness.
But I got
Yes.
to tell you, Angie, by the end of it, I mean, we've gone on a lot of walks in the woods, but I remember one walk. We walked forever, and then I got back to the hotel. I slept like I had,
Yes. Oh my. Yes.
and I remember I woke. I called you, and I was like, Angie, I just had the best nap. And you were like, that's that woods air.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that oxygen, the trees need us, we need the trees. It definitely opens up, awakens the senses, and even the kids. If I take them hiking, by the time they're home, you don't have to worry about sleep time and it's time to go to bed.
And that's a great selling, and I don't want to say selling point, but that's a great
But
way to convert parents. Like,
yes,
watch and maybe, and that's a
watch the
great study.
difference.
That's a great research study. Like, watch
Hmm.
their behavior. And I know when we read the book
After,
and you talked about ADHD.
yep, yes, absolutely. So, even I sometimes feel like I have ADHD where I can't sit down. And that's another point how when you're talking with Laura about kinetics, Howard Gardner, there's children learn differently. There's eight
Mhm.
different multiple
Kinesthetic
ways of
learner.
learning.
Right, right.
Right. So, she does kinesthetics, I do naturalist, I do and math and science. There's a mathematical learner. People learn through music, how you say Kyle learns through spatial and
Mhm,
movement. So everyone learns differently.
mhm.
But when you go into the woods, you're free. You're free. You can it focuses on all the emotional because you have no sense of time. You're just and then you can concentrate, you see a frog. And the kids go, "Oh, look, animals." When I take my girls, "Oh, look, a frog." You see so many different things at different times. I can go to the same place every day, and my one of my mottos is everything new in nature.
Explain that. That's beautiful.
I could go on the same hike every day and I will
Mm,
see something different that gives me a, oh, find something different, find a different shape. I see,
wow.
you see different artistic balances, the sounds. Like
Wow.
you're not going to go on the same hike and see the same thing
See, okay, now I have to
ever.
stop you because that right
Or feel.
there is a jewel, Angie, because you don't know. You my girl and I love you,
Yeah.
but every time I come visit you, I go on a hike. I'm like, this girl won't go in the woods again. I'm gonna walk again. But that I never thought of that. Like my
Yeah.
mind is not thinking, what new can I see? What new experience
Hmm.
can I have?
Hmm.
You
The
know?
time of day, whether it be the time of day. Like when I remember I first moved to Pennsylvania, when I first saw the sun and the moon out together, I was like, oh my goodness, this is
Mm,
amazing. Like,
yeah.
the sunsets are different every single night. The sunrises are different.
Wow.
It's just amazing, and it
Yeah.
definitely awakens again your all of your senses. It really does, and it helps concentration for children as well.
That's so true.
It, they can go out there for 2 hours and concentrate on and one thing like rocks or whatever and concentrate, but then you put them in a classroom and they can't sit. I don't want to,
They can't sit still, right? They can't
right, the
sit still.
focus
So,
issue. And then
mhm.
go ahead.
No, I was just thinking like so in reference like to the book, I was just thinking like with the dandelion and how the dandelion and this because this is all about how do we include everyone. Nature
Hmm.
calls all. How do we
Yes.
include these children that don't have these opportunities to be around nature? How can we include them? And I was thinking about the dandelion, and we could talk about
Right.
this with the book, but you know, you can exclude yourself from something because of
Hmm.
how you think of something. You know what I mean? Like in the book, the
Right.
dandelion was excluded, but even though the gardener was sorting and measuring and comparing and doing all that, you see this picture of this dandelion and you think, oh well, the dandelion's not really included. And then you
Right.
think about what we're talking about with nature
Like
and how
how
inner
to.
city children are not included, but do we also exclude ourselves? Because like you said, nature is for
Right.
all. Nate, the trees
Yes.
are calling. There's
It brings like family bonding to.
You can go to Central Park.
Yes.
I remember when I was in college, I used to walk from downtown because I worked at Hunt Elementary up on 91st Street. And one time I thought I was being
Hmm.
cute walking through Central Park, and I said, I'll take a detour. And I ended up in the woods in Central Park, and I was literally having a panic attack. I was like,
Right. Yeah,
how did
you get
we get
scared.
out here?
Yes.
What
Yes.
happened?
You get scared that you're gonna be abducted. So you can imagine you let your kids run free. Go ahead, go into the woods.
Exactly. But the thing is, it's like, it's there. You don't
Yeah.
have to live in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. We have Central Park. There's
Yes.
so many places. So the question is, are we excluding ourselves? Are minorities excluding, are we being the dandelion, like in the book, looking
Right.
off, feeling like, oh, I want to be included? Well,
Yeah.
include yourself.
It's time.
It's
It's so
time.
hard. People have to master the spirit of time and
Mm,
with all this social media and the phones, I could do anything on my watch. I could do this. I don't really. It's time.
it,
And then, it's just time. Even with the kids too. Some of them are single parents, they're working hard. They even said there's a study like the schools are spending more time on academics now. So like they gotta go home, do their homework, eat,
mhm,
and then who wants to
yeah,
go outside and play
yeah. And
or
there's
who wants to
not
go to
even a
Central
lot of
Park?
go outside and play. It's turn on a YouTube video and we move around for a little while and then we get back in our seat.
Right, right,
And
right.
it should be, you breathe in some air and
It's really, yes. I mean, a lot of a lot of New York teachers who are into bringing it into the classroom. You are a botanist. You bring those plants into the
bring
classroom.
all my, I'm a
Bring,
gardener.
yes,
I
the
bring
pine
all my
needles.
fall
Let me tell
harvests
you,
in. I think I
yeah.
found someone threw away their Christmas tree. Girl, I cut that tree up and I brought it into my classroom.
And
And we
yeah,
have been
I know
using those,
the
and you smell
smell.
it, and you,
Right. Yes, we had a tree in my job, and I was, bringing the kids down. And little boy, and he didn't. He's he doesn't. They don't celebrate Christmas, so
mm,
I understand the fact that. So I gave him a piece of the pine tree,
mm,
and I broke a piece off for him. I said, "Smell."
wow.
He was like, it got to a point where he started stealing, not stealing. He was taking branches home with him so he
Yeah.
could go home and smell
Oh,
it.
look
You
at that.
know, it
That
was
just says how much they need it, they want it, they crave it.
right,
And the trees are
right,
like,
but
come,
right, yes.
come.
Yes, it really touched my heart. So every time we go down, we break a piece, he smell it and take a piece home so he could smell it with him. And, just and that opens up senses.
Yeah. So you said you wanted to I have so many things in my mind about senses and walking in the woods with you. Like there was a cave you took us in and it was cold. All of a sudden we were walking through the woods. It was like hot summer. And then there was this pocket in the woods and it
Yes.
got cold.
It's like
And
a nature's air conditioning.
I was like, what is this? Where are we?
Yes.
Imagine,
Yes.
imagine an inner
Wow.
city kid who doesn't have like air conditioning, who rides
Wow.
the subways, can walk through the woods and then get that moment. I'll
Get
never
that natural air conditioning. Yes.
natural. I think that was the
To a
one where I
point where
went
it's
in and
nice and
slept like a
cool.
baby.
Oh yes, because I think we did put our feet in the water. You were brave enough to get wet a little bit from
Yeah,
the streams.
the
But
mist.
yeah, I just the
Wow.
feeling, and it gets so cool that you're like, okay, it's kind of chilly. It's
Yeah.
amazing, amazing.
And let me tell
But
you
like,
something. We took Mason, and Mason is my son. He's a teenager now. He's off in the Navy. But I remember when we went on his birthday, and he
yes,
started he turned on some classical music and started singing, and I was like, who is this kid?
like
And
what
then I have
Broadway?
this beautiful picture. I'm gonna
Right,
post it. I think I posted on Facebook. Kyle just had his arms out and he was
just
just
feeling like,
open.
yeah,
And
this
I
you
was just,
feel
this is amazing.
bring
So
you
I have
back.
to
Yep.
say thank you because you have
Oh,
changed my perception. And now when I look at the woods, I think I belong there.
more
My
peaceful. Yes,
children
and
belong
not
there. My children's
running.
children. And like I said, I used to drive the bus down south when I was a little like 18, 19, 20. I used to do
Mm-hmm.
Florida, and it would be like 4 in
Right.
the morning and it would be dark and we'd be passing woods. And that's all I
And
was
you
thinking
just,
about.
yeah, like, like,
They were probably
ooh,
building those woods 400 years ago to get to
right.
freedom. And
Ah,
so you have changed
yeah, bad experiences,
bad.
bad, yeah, yeah.
Right. And that it's almost like swimming or boats. How we said,
Right. Yes,
we're on
yes.
the boat.
Like Nikki, she saw the Poseidon Adventure and she's like, nah, I don't do boats.
No boats for me.
But you have a fear. But once you get on that boat, you feel the water and you're like, oh, okay, it's a different story. But like I said, experience changes
That's right. So it's
everything.
experiential, it's psychological, and
Yes.
financial, and location.
Financial,
A
yes,
lot of it.
financial and
But we have
location.
to make the decision to not exclude ourselves, to not be the dandelion.
Yes,
And
not
not,
yes.
let's talk about this because you talked about this when you said how we came from the woods, we came from this place,
Right.
and then
Yes.
we were pushed into the inner cities. And how in the book, like the gardener, she's putting everyone in their little place.
And they're
This is where
separate.
you go.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you. So let's talk a little bit about that because you started to bring it up.
Yeah.
Because these
Yeah,
are things I
yeah.
didn't
How
think about
she
when I
was
was writing it. I was like,
right, how she was, she's putting everyone separate and the dandelion is saying, this makes no sense. And
hmm,
when I saw the word sense, I just thought of all the
hmm,
sensory nerves that we go through when we go through nature.
hmm,
And I'm like, yeah, like the gardener does not have any sense.
hmm. Yes.
And then it took her, just how you said you went home and you slept. You felt
Hmm,
good. I felt like the gardener slept, and it took a full moon to
hmm.
enlighten her.
Okay. Hmm.
And that's what nature does. You're on nature. When the full moon, definitely, they say, the moon was Earth's twin, and it controls the water.
Mm. Yes, the
So,
pulls, the
I felt
tides, yes,
right, the pull of,
that's
yeah. So,
science.
I feel like how you wrote, I don't even know if you were thinking about that when you wrote, she slept and the full moon came, but I felt like it enlightened her,
Mm,
as a naturalist.
mm,
Yes, yes, that full moon enlightens you.
that's
And then
right.
she woke up And
She
she
didn't even
said, you
go in the
know what?
bed. Remember, I think Georgette said
She
that.
was on
Someone
the
said that. She
did
didn't
she
even go
sleep
in
on
the
the
house. Yeah, she just
did
slept in the
oh
wheelbarrow.
she did. She slept on her thing.
Because I could have fallen asleep in the woods that day. I was like, I can just lay here on a tree
Yes.
and go to sleep, take a nap.
Yes. See, even better. Like she really got in tune. Just when you go to nature, you get in tune.
And imagine how children, if they can get in tune like that, in
Ooh.
tune with
Oh.
themselves,
Oh my
because
goodness,
you see their
Jahida.
personality when they
Yes,
feel
it
in
helps them. Yes.
the
It helps
simple.
them mentally and physically. Like
Yes,
straight up study has shown, and there is a book that I do want to recommend everybody to read. It's called The Last Child in the Woods
yes,
by
that's a good
Richard Loeb. And that will even, hopefully help us as well,
one.
not just the children,
That's a
but
great book.
it really, really, we need to bring nature back and just get us back into
Breathing. And you
life.
don't have to wear a mask in the
You
woods.
don't have to wear a mask in the wood, only if someone walks by you.
Right.
But you go to the spots where, sorry, I'm moving because I
Then you
have my
take it
phone.
off.
Where yes, yes, but yeah, the trees need our carbon dioxide. We need their oxygen. So, and people walk around with oxygen tanks. They pay for oxygen.
Yeah.
People are paying for oxygen.
Yeah. And water. We pay for water. All of it's all
you know, I understand the water because a little,
there. Right.
but yeah, but I understand oxygen too. Some people don't get it, but you can go out and why the oxygen, it helps you. It
Hmm.
helps your whole system. It helps your body, and
Hmm.
then the sleep is even better.
Hmm.
It helps
The
your
sleep
immune
is
system.
even
You go out
better.
in nature, you hike for the day, you gone.
Yes, yes, yes. And
So
and
it
then
just
we
balances.
transform. We hope to transform
Yeah, a
like how in the book
balance.
The Dandelion, we've been talking about this, how
Yes,
that
yes,
dandelion transformed into something completely different and spread
yes.
out. And as, minorities in the inner cities, we're all clumped up together.
Right,
You know,
right. Yeah,
buildings and trains and streets, and it's like,
yes.
I
Oh,
gotta get out of here. And just to transform and spread out. And people always say to me, why are you going out, you taking the ride again this weekend? I'm like, yeah, I
right,
love
right.
it. It's the
Yes.
ride, it's the
Once you
journey.
once you get that experience, you're
Yeah.
never gonna ever let it go.
Yeah, and,
Never gonna
and
want
you
to.
know,
You're like,
I
whoo.
stop everywhere. People are like, "How long did it take you to get there?" I said, "Oh, it took me about 13 hours." What? That's a 6 hour drive. I'm like, I stop. I'm like, "Oop, an exit. Let me get up, get
Right.
the
That's
coffee."
it. Yeah.
But it's that
Pause for the
moment where
cause.
you
Yeah.
open the door of your car and you step out and you see the
Yeah.
trees and you
You
feel
lose time. Yep.
and it's just
Yeah.
like everything. And I feel like I've become like the dandelion where I've
You
transformed
just,
my
yeah,
mind.
like, yes,
And
yes,
I
from when
need
you
it
first.
now. I need it. I have to spread out. I have to spread out.
Yes.
And
Absolutely. I feel like I'm addicted as well.
yes, girl, you
Like,
are
I
addicted.
got a break. Let me go. I need to
Yes. She's like,
breathe.
come on,
And
we're
then I
going on
come
a
back
hike.
refreshed.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
go. Oh, and I remember the time you took us to the Seven Falls.
The seven tubs. The seven tubs.
I tell you, I love
Well,
you, but I hated you that day. I really did hate you that
yeah.
day. We got to the
I made
third and
you.
fourth tub. I was like, I'm never coming to visit her again. Explain the tubs.
Well, the seven tubs, it's a natural waterfalls, which that's how amazing water is just amazing. But it's a natural waterfalls, and the water actually created tubs within the rock formation. So you can actually walk to the top, and you can slide down the water, boom, you slide into a tub, which some people jump from the bridges and they jump down into the tubs. That's how deep they are.
And explain how
It's
it goes
beautiful.
because it's
They're layers. You go up to the top. Then you have to hike up to the top. They have some steps that are very, very steep. You're on a cliff sometimes, but when
there
you
was
get to the
water
top,
coming out of the rocks.
and
Like I was like,
water. Oh yeah, on the
oh my
sides of,
gosh,
yes,
there's
yes.
water. Look, and the kids.
No, you know what? That was Ricketts Glen. That
That
no
was the
Ricketts
one I hated
Glen.
you for.
That yeah, because we
I love you though. I appreciate you. I'm gonna tell you after you tell your story why I
yeah.
love
So the Ricketts Glen, there's two ways to get in. So the first, when I took Jahida, one way to get in is you walk a 2.5 mile walk, and then the waterfalls are there. And then
I know, and I
another
was
way
like,
you
where's the
that
waterfall?
was
Where's the waterfall? drove like an hour to get there. I was like, I need the
Oh
bathroom.
yeah, that was yeah, that was
But the kids, they were
they
happy.
were having a ball.
They
They
were.
were having a ball. But yeah, it's a 2.5 mile walk to the first waterfall. And that was, yes, I did. Yeah, that was,
And they keep going. Then what
we were
happens?
done.
Then what happens as you keep
That was the day that you passed out. Yeah, but it was so, that one is beautiful. That, I think there's like 30 something waterfalls in that whole
going?
park area.
We
And
got
I'm,
halfway, and you were ready. You were like, "Come on, we're gonna go
come
keep." I
on,
was like,
let's
"No,
go.
it's time to go
And then
back
it
down."
started raining. Wait, and then it started raining, I believe.
Yes, it's time to go back down now.
Yes, but the good
I
thing
was
it
like,
was,
I'll do the next second half next time. Nah, but let me tell you
yeah,
something.
that one is
Because
deep.
you took me on that trip, I chose to move to Niagara Falls. You changed my life, Angie. And now we cry together. Now I'm gonna
Oh,
cry
yeah.
because
Yep,
I
yep.
people say, "Why you want to move all the way out there?" I said, "Well,
I
I
need
want to
nature.
spend the rest of my life either near a mountain or near water."
Yes, and water, yes. And
And
then that's where,
that's
that's how it's supposed to be.
yeah,
That's how it was supposed to be.
yeah. That's
But,
what I want to see in my life. And it was because you took me on those walks in the
oh,
and I
yes.
wish that for
Oh,
little
thank
children. I wish
you.
that for inner city children who don't under who don't get the sense of it all.
Right.
Who aren't
Right. Yes.
you
Right.
know, who don't have the
Yes.
opportunity to jump in a car and go see the mountains, a country home, or whatever, because
Mm-hmm.
they're children that this is just a part of their life. You
Yeah.
can live in the
Yep.
city and you go out to the country all the time and you see cows and
There's
all
some,
kinds of
yeah.
things. But you don't have to go to the Bronx Zoo to see an animal.
Right.
But that's what we had to do when we were living in the Bronx.
Yep. Yep.
We
We did.
found a way to see it and
We
feel it.
found, yes. And it wasn't 100%. We definitely had to walk on the asphalt to get to the
Yes,
animals and stuff.
once we got
You
out
see
of
the
Air Reach
buses.
of the two train,
Right.
see the animals now. But
It
this is
was,
great. This
but
is
they had,
great, and we
but they
really,
had little safari monorails that really took us to Africa and stuff. It was awesome. Bronx Zoo, God bless their hearts on their souls. So they were amazing. The zoos
yes.
in New York City are amazing.
I
If
remember
I did
when,
live in New York, I would try and take kids out there and do my program out there.
yeah. So how would you? What are your goals? What are your dreams? What are your desires to take this passion? Because you are a very unique woman. One, because
Oh,
where you are positioned. Two, because how you live your life. You don't just talk about the woods. You are the woods.
yes.
So how would
Yes.
you're like what can I say? You are so valuable. It's almost like that
Oh,
saying
thank
where
you.
you're sitting on a gold mine. Like you're sitting on like
Like,
I
right.
wish someone could just like if I was a millionaire or billionaire, I would just throw all this money to you and I would say, listen, what you're doing,
Get
I
this
want you to take
together.
this and I want you to take this and I want you to put it together and make something amazing happen where these children can have the same mindset
Yes.
as you because it's a
Envisioning
mindset.
it.
It's a mindset
Yes. Right.
that needs to change.
Absolutely. I'm visioning it now. I mean, I would like to purchase at least 5 to 6 acres of land. So I can build my not a camp. I don't want to do a camp, but I want to do a more of a retreat getaway for kids,
Mhm.
slash morning daycare in the camps. They have an all day
I'm
pre-K
doing real estate
pre-K
now.
school.
I may
Oh,
help you get that land, girl.
yes, but they have an all day preschool in Seattle, Washington, and the kids,
Wow.
they're out all day. And the lady, she on her property, the property they plant, seeds and stuff for them to eat
Yes.
during the day and berries and stuff like that. And they have mosquito nets for the kids if they want to take a nap in the afternoon. So I would love to
Mm.
do in like an all day pre-K
Wow.
school for
Outdoors.
camp outdoors, totally outdoors, everything outdoors, and not just for pre-K because now I'm venturing more for the older students, like older kids. Like the other day, I took my son Xavier. He just turned 18 in January, and
Thanks.
you know, last summer, like he would never, I'd look, I told him once a week, let's get out and let's just go. And he would, there were weeks I'm taking your Xbox away from you because yeah, everyone, and now that COVID is hit, that gives them a reason to be in front
Mhm.
of electronics, in front of a TV.
Yeah.
So it's
And it's
just,
so it hurts because it's like
it really
I can't
does.
I can't control this.
Right, right. It's really hard nowadays, because they're on the computer screens all morning for school, and then you want to get them off, and then they're tired, and it's just so I dragged him, and he came out with me, and we threw rocks. I helped him down. He
Mm,
slipped. He helped me up a cliff.
mm.
It was so much fun. I think he even cut his finger throwing. That happens. Because I
That's
took
supposed to
a
happen.
tree branch, throw the
That's
tree
right.
branch.
That's
He
what,
cut his finger, and he's bleeding. And
mm,
but I tell you, when we got home, I'm gonna cry. We got home that night. He came up to me and he hugged me and he's like, "Your mom, thank you. I
wow.
had so much fun with you. Like I had the best fun. I had so much fun with just you and me." And man, he didn't complain once. Even when he cut his finger, he didn't say, "I want to go home. This is
Yeah.
bad." Nope.
Yeah.
We kept exploring and we had such a great time. So all we need is experience,
Just get them
give
out
them the
there.
experience. Yes. And my once I get my land and everything, the first hike is free.
Oh, I
I
love
might not
it.
even, if I charge anything because it's more for the
Mhm.
children,
Right. I love it.
Um, that's what I want to do. I want to create a nice little village of education, learning, science, and math,
I love it.
nature,
You're taking
water,
all the little dandelions
all the
and
dandelions and bringing
and
them
spreading
together
them
and,
out and
yep,
making them
letting
all
them soar.
included in this wonderful thing we call
Everybody is included.
the
Yes.
bouquet.
Yep. Yep.
What does the gardener say? You are part of my garden, and here you will stay.
I'll say
We hope that
yes.
children grow to make it a part of their life. It's not just something they do, but it's who they are, and they become
Yeah. It's
one
who we
with
are.
nature. Because, like you said, the trees give
Yes.
us air, and it's a connection already. We just have to acknowledge the connection.
To
So,
make sure. Yep,
Angie,
absolutely.
thank you so
Oh,
much. We could talk forever,
thank
but no one's
you.
going to listen to
Listen,
a 2 hour.
I know,
They're gonna be like, that was
I
nice after five
know,
minutes.
right? Oh, but yes, and also, but I'm gonna end out with some little thing about nature.
Yes.
But thank you again for having me, Jay. It was awesome, and I hope that everybody, again, without with COVID, but try and get to the parks. You guys, you could sit, be social distancing at Central Park or and any parks. So, but I'm going to tell you the nature. Well, how all we can learn from nature because nature runs on sunlight. Nature uses only the energy it needs. Nature fits form to function. Nature recycles everything. Nature rewards cooperation. Nature banks on diversity.
Mm,
Nature demands local expertise, and nature taps the power of limits.
that is amazing. And with that, we are going to say nature calls all. Angie, thank
Nature
you
calls
so
all.
much.
You're welcome, Jay. Thanks for having me.
I will see you in the
Happy
woods.
Football Sunday. Yes. See you in the woods. Meet me in the woods.
Meet you in the
All right. I
woods.
love you.
Love
You have a
you.
great night.
Bye.
And God bless everybody. Continue to be safe and healthy. Healthy. Health is wealth and not money.
Yes. All right.